In 1999, Horace Roberts was arrested in Riverside, California, for the death of a woman he was having an affair with. He was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 15 years to life. 20 years later, DNA evidence proved that he was innocent, and lawyers representing Roberts argued that investigators on the case had fabricated police reports and suppressed evidence. Since Horace Roberts' release in 2018, the victim's estranged husband and his nephew have been charged in her death, allegedly framing Roberts for the murder. Both men are currently behind bars and awaiting trial. Horace Roberts spent 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and is eligible to receive compensation of $140 a day for each day he was incarcerated. In 1987, Timothy Atkins was arrested in Los Angeles for murder and armed robbery after a woman identified him as the man that killed her husband during an attempted carjacking. A woman who knew Atkins testified that he had confessed to her that he was an accomplice in the killing on the night of the murder. 20 years later, Atkins' lawyer found that same woman who had testified. She had become addicted to crack and was homeless. She admitted that she lied about his confession and told lawyers her feeling guilty about lying was the primary reason she'd become addicted to drugs. Tim Atkins was released in 2007 after spending 23 years wrongfully imprisoned. In 1994, Quintin Morris was arrested in Los Angeles for 3 counts of attempted murder after 4 teenagers were shot at while walking up the stairs to their home. The teens said the shots came from a masked man driving a white Cadillac. Morris, who was in the area at the time of the incident, was pulled over because he was driving a yellow Cadillac. And although police found no guns, bullets, or a stocking mask, Morris was convicted and sentenced to 3 life sentences. Years after Morris's conviction, it was discovered that he was in fact innocent when another man confessed to an attorney and judge that he was the shooter that night. Quintin Morris was released in 2009 after serving 27 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. In 1985, Roeling Adams was arrested for the death of a man who was shot and killed in the San Pedro, California housing projects. An eyewitness testified that Adams and another man from a local gang started shooting into a crowd after a fight over a dice game. Despite having an alibi, Adams was convicted and sentenced to 27 years to life. Years after Adams was sent to prison, the other man charged in the crime admitted to a parole board that he and 2 of his friends were responsible for the shooting, and not Roeling Adams. In 2014, Adams was released after spending 28 years of his life in prison for a wrongful conviction. In 1978, Michael Hanline was arrested after a Ventura, California biker was shot multiple times. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. More than 20 years after his conviction, it was found that many of the original police reports had been sealed before Hanline's trial. These reports showed that another man had originally admitted to committing the murder, but that law enforcement hid these reports from the defense attorney. This information, along with additional DNA testing, proved Hanline was innocent, and in 2014, after 36 years in prison, his conviction was reversed and he was released. Michael Hanline's wrongful incarceration was the longest in California's history.